Welcome back to True Tale Stories. Tonight, I want to share a story that reminds us how one simple act of kindness can change two lives forever. The evening air in downtown Portland carried the scent of autumn leaves and the faint promise of rain. At a small table outside Café Bellecourt, David Harrison sat alone, watching the city's rhythm of commuters and early diners. At 62, he had learned to appreciate these quiet pauses between meetings when the noise of business and responsibility finally faded. His plate of pasta sat half-finished, another meal more for routine than enjoyment. Ever since Patricia passed away 2 years ago, food had lost its comfort, and even the finest restaurants felt lonely. He checked the time on his vintage Rolex, a gift from Patricia on their 25th anniversary, but there was nowhere he needed to be. The board meeting wasn't until morning, and his hotel room would only echo his solitude. So he stayed, watching people pass, soaking in the soft hum of life around him. That's when he noticed her. A young woman, maybe in her mid-20s, approached the cafe's outdoor seating area. She held a small baby close to her chest, wrapped in a hand-knitted blanket. Her clothes were clean but worn, her steps careful, her face marked by both exhaustion and quiet strength. She paused near David's table, scanning the diners with hesitant eyes before finally speaking. "Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry to bother you, but I noticed you weren't finishing your meal. May I have your leftovers?" The words struck David differently than any request for help he'd heard before. There was no manipulation or pity, just honesty, dignity, and need. He pushed his chair back slightly. "Of course. Would you like to sit down?" The woman blinked in surprise. "I don't want to intrude." "You're not intruding," David said gently. "Please, join me." She hesitated for a moment, then sat down across from him, adjusting the baby with care. "I'm David," he said. "Christina," she replied quietly. "And this is Lily." David smiled and waved over the waiter. "The pasta here is very good. Let's get you a fresh plate and a cup of tea." Christina's eyes filled with tears. She quickly tried to blink away. "You don't have to." "I know," David interrupted softly. "But I'd like to." As they waited, Christina shared her story. She had come to Portland 6 months ago, escaping an abusive relationship. She found a job at a diner, but it had closed 2 weeks earlier, leaving her without income. She was staying at a women's shelter and had an interview the next morning, a housekeeping position at a hotel downtown. David listened quietly, deeply moved by her courage. He thought of his daughter, Sarah, now living in Seattle with 2 children of her own. He couldn't help but imagine, what if Sarah had ever been in this young woman's place? When the food arrived, Christina ate slowly, savoring each bite while keeping one arm wrapped protectively around Lily. The baby stirred softly, tiny fingers peeking out from the blanket. "How old is she?" David asked with a kind smile. 4 months next week, Christina said proudly. "She's been such a good baby. Sometimes I think she knows we're in this together." David nodded. "Babies are smarter than we give them credit for. My daughter was the same way, she always seemed to sense when we needed her to be patient." He showed her a picture of his grandkids. Time moves fast. One day it's sleepless nights, and the next, you're watching them perform in school plays. Christina smiled, her face softening for the first time. She spoke about her dream, to finish her nursing degree someday and give Lily a better life. David found himself talking about Patricia, his late wife, and the foundation they'd started years ago to help families in crisis. "She always believed everyone deserves a second chance," he said, his voice growing quiet. As the night grew colder, David reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. On the back, he scribbled a name and phone number. "Christina," he said, sliding it across the table, "call this number tomorrow morning. Ask for Helen Martinez, she's the director of our family assistance program. They can help you with housing, childcare, and job placement." Christina looked at the card, confused. "I don't understand. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." David smiled gently. "Because someone once did the same for me. When I was young, broke, and scared, a stranger gave me a chance. He helped me believe I could make something of myself. That kindness changed my life." Tears welled in Christina's eyes. "I don't know what to say." "Just promise me you'll call," he said. "I will," she whispered. As she stood to leave, David asked, "That job interview tomorrow, what time?" 10, at the Marriott downtown. David smiled knowingly. Tom Bradley manages that hotel. I'll give him a call tonight. I won't promise anything, but I'll make sure they see what I saw tonight, someone with strength and character. 6 months later, David received a letter in the mail. The handwriting was neat, the paper simple. Mr. Harrison, I think about that evening often. You showed me that asking for help isn't shameful and accepting kindness isn't weakness. You reminded me that there are still people who see others as family, not strangers. I got the job. I have an apartment now, and I'm taking classes toward my nursing degree. Lily is growing fast, she smiles all the time. I hope someday I can pass on what you gave me. Christina had included a photo, baby Lily sitting up, smiling at the camera. David folded the letter carefully and placed it in his desk drawer beside Patricia's picture. He sat for a while, remembering that rainy night, a meal shared with a stranger that became a turning point for them both. Later that evening, he called his daughter. I've been thinking about your mother's favorite saying, he told her. Everyone deserves a second chance. Sarah smiled through the phone. That sounds like Mom. David looked out over the city lights and added softly, I think she would have said that sometimes, giving someone else a second chance gives you one, too. And as he hung up, he realized that kindness, when freely given, has a way of circling back, turning strangers into family, grief into gratitude, and leftovers into hope. Because in the end, it's not wealth or power that defines us. It's the simple, human moments when compassion becomes connection. And that, perhaps, is the truest tale of all.